Kaida. So all four teams are still alive, but let's go ahead and focus our attention toward the bottom side of the bracket. Our first quarterfinal match here of week number 7 in the Legion Sunday Showdown. We've got Voxie and SiaDark facing off against Jordberry and Gafow. Jordberry and Gafow, of course, for those who are Legion Sunday Showdown, frequent viewers, actually did win a prior week, so something to kind of keep in mind. But every time Voxie has been in a tournament, he always performs no matter what teammate he has. So this is going to be a very interesting one to watch. And based that we see a full 4-stack in retail row, Ryan, things are going to get started very quickly. Yeah,
I mean, Jordberry and Gafow are my last hope, and so I really need them to pull through here, which probably means they're going to lose. So apologize in advance, but we do see the 4-stack at retail, which is somewhat of a hot drop. So I think it becomes less of a hot drop when you have your full squad there. Obviously, these are some of the most skilled players in the world. So for them, what might be a hot drop to guys like us isn't really that big of a deal for them.
That's true.
If anything, it's probably another opportunity to get more kills, right, and to extend the lead. So I always like the strategy of dropping with your opponents, just because you don't want a situation where you drop where there's no one. Next thing you know, your opponent has a trillion kills because you're smacking trees while they're smacking bodies, right?
That's true.
So
definitely something to keep in mind. It looks like we are going to be on the line side right now with SiaDark, who, like I said, has played in quite a few of our tournaments. But regardless of that, though, firing a few bullets, and we'll see whether or not they can.
It's like we're seeing more hand-holding from the teams again.
Yeah, I don't know if this is just maybe the saying of like, hey, this team landed here, let's kind of join alongside of them, or if this is a planned strategy. Things are changing out from week to week, but take a look at this. Jordberry has been taken down. That is a big moment in this game, but he's not been fully eliminated. So I believe the res is going to be coming through, but the elimination will actually be found from the opposing team. So Voxie will walk away with that. You can't ask for better, right? The opposing team to go down for the time and to have the opportunity to steal their elimination out from underneath them.
Yeah, it does look like. So what are we looking for kills? There's only one kill in that whole engagement? Am I seeing that right?
Yeah, and then there just comes a second from SiaDark. Just decides to go ahead and rock the pump shot through the window and makes it land. So, yeah, only one elimination from that fight, but I'd imagine there are still many players probably hiding in bushes and buildings at this point in the game. Yeah. So, and I believe there is a Porta-Fortress just toward the northern eastern side of Voxie's screen. So with grapplers out, they could use that mobility to try to grab the height advantages at the moment and kind of spot out where they could be.
Push towards Bass. Looks like there's at least a team hiding somewhere in Bass. Shots coming in.
Picks up the pump. Oh, he lands it, but boy, was that one close. And you still hear actually a little bit of damage just on the outside of this Bass shop. So something to keep in mind is the bandages are going to get rocked. He's pretty much out of commission right now, Ryan, because like I said, he only has 5 HP. It's going to take a little bit to try to get those bandages under wraps, as it will be, I believe, Gafow who does walk away with at least some shots in that particular engagement. So quite a bit of action starting off, and when you take a look at the top right, already 50 players down. Pretty crazy. Fortnite games, I feel like recently have sped up so much. Whenever I play, I feel like I look down to pick up a chest, and I look back up, and it's like, oh yeah, there's 30 players left. That's always fun. So
one thing I wondered how it would affect the games was the fact that they actually recently increased the speed that the battle bus goes.
Yeah.
So I wondered if that, so players can drop quicker, action can start faster, and so I wondered if that had anything to do with maybe speeding up the game. It feels, at first it felt a little odd. Now it feels very natural from when I'm playing, at least personally. But I do think that helps kind of speed the map up a little bit because, like I said, people are landing faster. The faster you land, the faster you get loot, the faster you shoot people. As we do see, looks like Jordberry getting an engagement right here. He does get the down. Doesn't look like his teammates in sight.
And I will say, to top up your point, when we talk about mobility and how fast that the bus now moves, I think the reason why they do that is to kind of, like I said, keep the game at a very rapid pace, because with the amount of mobility tools that are now in the game, along with the storm moving faster, I feel like it was only a matter of time before they had to move the bus up a little bit, just because much like how the NBA is becoming more of a three-point game, Fortnite's becoming a much quicker one. And, of course, all things kind of have to fall to that at certain points. But Jordberry will get the knock. Gafow finishes him off, as now that's going to be 3 officially for Jordberry. What a nice little snap he hits there on that player going toward the mountain.
Cleans up the kill there. Looks like that was a lower skilled player, I would say, who just stopped in his tracks. But either way, we take those, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You take him any chance you get.
This is my last hope, so we need all the potatoes to show up today.
Oh, man. potatoes. I forgot you used to say that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
During Friday
It's
Fortnite.
potato season.
It is.
There's less and less potatoes out there, though, man.
Are you planting them right now? I don't know.
They've all grown and blossomed now. They're growing into larger, more capable vegetables now.
See, I feel like whenever I watch Fortnite streamers play, they just see the most terrible players in the world. And whenever I play, I see guys who build the Taj Mahal
Yeah, I see Tifu.
who are human porta-fortresses.
Yep.
Like, it's absurd. I don't know. Maybe it's just...
Which it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
Are you the potato?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there are many times where I found myself playing Fortnite like I would PUBG, just kind of chilling in the building and saying, hey, you know what? Is this common assault rifle really the best item I can have? No, but hey, at least I'm alive. At least like I got through top 20. I'll take it.
One thing I know that makes Fortnite like a really, really, really good game to me, and this is one thing I always take across any game I play. Like most of the time, and almost all the time in Fortnite, if I die, I probably deserved it.
That's true.
There's certain times where there's some cheese in every game, right? There's cheesy stuff in every game, but like most of the time in Fortnite, if I get outplayed, I got outplayed, right?
Yeah,
I could have done something different there. I could have hit a shot. I could have built better. I could have got high ground. I could have done anything, and I didn't. And so that's one thing that probably the reason that Fortnite sticks for so many people is because it keeps you honest, right? Like
that's true, yeah.
You're kind of in control of yourself with all the tools you have.
I will say though, many times has my tac shotgun only given me 8 damage.
Oh, we love big 8s.
That is
we love big 8s.
That is the only negative that I could say about my experience when using certain weapons in Fortnite. Regardless, that's a good point that you bring up, though. It really is true. Like a lot of the times, whenever you do, fall in Fortnite, it's not a matter of like, oh my gosh, it's the connection. It's like, well, hey, like this guy built on top of me. He had high ground,
right.
and he destroyed my entire life.
Or
so
you get cracked by a sniper. Like there's bullet drop. I mean, you got to hit a shot,
oh,
right?
Yeah,
like so, it's if you died, you probably deserve it.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like Jordberry and Gafow though are making their way in toward Tilted Towers. This is a very interesting and you could argue risky strategy. Keeping in mind, I want to have the viewers recognize this at home. So you're watching them play, and it seems as if it's just a normal game for the most part, right? If you can see the top left of their screen, take a look at that ping. What does that say? 100, 180, 170, 187 ping. That is because Jordberry and Gafow are both actually from Denmark, and they are constantly playing in the Sunday Showdown on North American servers. Like I said, when obviously they're in Europe. So that's something to keep in mind. As the game progresses, we'll see one game on the NA host, while one team will switch to the EU host, which of course is the preferred one here for Jordberry and Gafow. But they continue to dominate, Ryan. And that's the thing that is the biggest difficulty I've seen for teams who play against this particular duo. Is they're not experienced in playing with those high pings. They're not experienced with seeing that bullet drop off, the delay when it comes to hitting certain things or building and whatnot. These guys are 100 ping legends, and they're playing on it constantly. And I think that's one of the reasons what makes them even more talented is that regardless of the ping that they're on, they're experienced and their shots are always solid.
And that's something that could definitely tilt other players, too, who aren't used to that, right? So let's say that you think you should have got some kill, you should have got some shot off. Oh, my God, the lag, right? And you get all mad. Next thing you know, the more you get tilted, I mean, if you play games long enough, playing games while you're tilted is never really a good idea.
And getting tilted in tilted.
When it rains, it pours. Yeah,
so
especially tilted towers especially, right? So, yeah, no, a huge hats off to them to be able to keep the composure, to still play despite the bad ping. Doesn't seem to affect them very much, honestly. They're still pushing the way they should. They're still hitting the shots. Even, imagine with, like, Bloom and the guns with the ping. They just seem unbothered, unfazed. They've done it for long enough, right? These are guys who came from the qualifiers. They come from, the cash-out match world, the online tournament world. So this is nothing new to them. So obviously, like I said, there's got to be one of our most consistent, maybe even our most consistent team so far in the Legion Sunday Showdown, or they have to be close.
They actually went from a first-place finish to a top 16 placing. Outside of that, though, they've been a very consistent squad.
I feel like I always see them, and they might not be the most, but I feel like I always see them in the mix of the top teams other than the week they got 16. So, I mean, huge hats off to them for obviously being a great duo. Yeah,
very rarely, if ever at all, can you expect to see a team have a bigger advantage than Jordberry and Gafow. But you got to keep in mind as well, right? For the opposing team, Voxie and SiaDark, the fact that you had this game on your server when you're going to have to play on 187-plus ping next game, they have a big advantage. So they need to capitalize on it. When you have a big opportunity like this, you cannot let it slip. So with that in mind, it looks as if SiaDark will get taken down, which is a huge moment in this game because as I start to talk about it, you got to keep in mind the advantages that you currently possess. And along with that, Voxie is also very low as well. So that is a scary point in this game for them, and really for Jordberry, he could not look any more prominent, any more powerful than he does right now with that high ground advantage and that trusty shotty in his back pocket.
You gotta wonder if you're Gafow and team. Oh, just as I say that, Jordberry goes down. Oh,
okay.
And thirsted. I was just gonna say, should they maybe go towards Voxie to lure more enemies towards Voxie since he's so low in health? Right, like it's not considered a sabotage or anything, right? It's a team fight.
Right.
But just as we say that, though, Jordberry does go down. So now we're at a 1v1 situation where it looks like both players are very low in health, have no heals, and so that went from a huge advantage to literally an equalizer.
Yeah, that was a huge moment that I was hoping that we could see Jordberry and Gafow capitalize on. But I think much as we were surprised, Jordberry was as well to see three players all throwing heat-seeking missiles at his face. And so he goes down immediately. Like I said, now we see a 1v1. Thankfully, a little bit more HP gain for Voxie. But regardless of that, though, he's not seen anybody right now inside of the Leaky Lake.
Yeah, I mean, for both players, like I said, we're pretty much reset now, and so they don't, it's no longer a 1v2 situation where you have to be super on top of, following the other team, right? We're equal. Now both players have an opportunity to find heals, find more mats, loot up a little more, because now they're in the same position as each other.
It's going to be interesting. You hear those keys tapping away.
Little nerd angle right here. I like this.
Nice little line sight. As we're going to be seeing whether or not the shot can land at the same time, though. I believe it is going to be Voxie in the bottom right of our screen, taking down a particular player trying to enter in toward Leaky Lakes, but it will be the respawn screen is what they will partake in next, and trying to get as much loot as they can, right? Because keeping in mind, both players, when their teammates ended up getting eliminated, they didn't have access to their loot. So whether it was bandaged, whether it was shields, obviously upgraded weapons, etc., they don't have the ability to check out those things. So any loot that you could find off the ground is very ideal. And unfortunately, right now for Gafow, he's still sitting at 20 HP. So anything that he can find, if it's even just a casual bandage placed on the pavement, he'll take it.
Or apples, anything. I mean, essentially one bullet right now with almost any AR this late in the game, other than a common, I think, is going to kill him. So he has to be super careful of kind of how he plays his life, how defensive he plays. Obviously, he's not in a position right now to push a team of 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So he has to be very careful. Also, the zone's coming in, too, which seems to be right on him. That's not going to be too friendly either with that much health.
Yeah, thankfully it will stop for the time, but that player, unfortunately, will not stop as well. Manages to hit a few shots with that suppressed assault rifle. However, it is only going to be shields at that. But keeping in mind, bottom right of our screen, shots continuing to echo right now throughout Leaky Lakes, as he will be taken down officially. I believe that player is sitting at the top of the Porta Fortress, as that is going to be a full team taken down, and Gafow, the spotlight is on him. But those rays are very bright, as they only will leave him with 20 HP. But look at that, though. There is going to be a drop not far off in the distance, as that could lead to quite a bit of success and potentially a future victory royale. But it looks like he does spot a spaceman making his way there, and he cannot find the shot. I saw slurp juice there, Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks like the player who picked the care package up didn't actually go get the slurp, but now there's it looks like his teammates are here to party.
No.
The slurp is still out. He's toying with him.
He is. Oh, and he's been spotted. He has been spotted.
You got to run, brother.
From multiple angles, keeping in mind there's players from his east and players from his north, and the only thing he can take a look at is a storm at his backside. And without an advantage either, it's really a matter of I have to pretty much do whatever I can at this point in the game. Really needs to try to take high ground advantage when you have 20 HP and you're in a spot like that. It is very difficult to really pull off anything other than just a few shots that you hope can land. But regardless, though, an entire squad taken down before what? I think it was still there was at least like 18, 17 players left. Doesn't happen very often. So
no, especially the guys at this caliber too.
Yeah.
So we do enter the game though with only a 3-kill lead. So I mean, with these guys, like I said, that's less than even a team wipe. So that I'm not gonna say it's tied because it's not tied, but we're coming into game 2 with it still being any man's game. And
I'm also very curious to see as well for Voxie and for Sia, how are they going to respond, right, to that big ping difference? There's an N in there. How are they going to react to that, right? Because that is only 3 elims coming into this game, where you could argue it's going to be a totally different story for the most part. And for obviously when we talk about Jordberry and Gafow, they're now kind of on their home territory. They have the advantage coming into this game. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think 3 eliminations is going to make them feel any confidence coming into this next game.
No, I mean, if you're Gafow and Jordberry, right, you're only down 3 coming into your server, your home turf. Your shots are going to hit easier. You can play with a little more confidence. You can play a little more aggressive. Meanwhile, they have to play more passive. I mean, you got to think they're in a pretty good position. Obviously, it's Fortnite. They could land and get a pistol against a heavy shotgun for all we know. But you got to be feeling pretty good if you're them. Especially when you got pretty lucky that both teams, at least died around the same time, right? It's not like one team had a super long amount of time to go farm kills, right? So I would say that game ended definitely better for the side of Gafow and Jordberry.
Definitely. And like I said, keeping in mind that the servers will be swapping. We'll hop into that game as soon as it will come on our screens. But yeah, man, I'm really curious to see how this game obviously progresses through. And I'm also interested to see maybe how the landing locations could be affected, because I noticed I think it was the OG game, we saw them go kind of like toward retail row. We saw them go toward prominent locations despite maybe dying early in certain games. Teams still seem to be playing fairly aggressive. And I know throughout a lot of our Friday Fortnite tournaments, it was a matter of everybody goes tilted, everybody goes retail row, everybody goes Salty Springs. Over time, that started to become more of a passive play style that really saw quite a few teams' success. Even Tfue and Cloaksy were kind of one of the first teams to reiterate that, saying, hey, we're professional players, but we play passively. And that's the reason why they won so many tournaments, was adapting to that strategy early. But I don't know, I feel like in the Sunday Showdown, we've seen teams see a lot of success from that high aggressive play style, but we always talk about it, right? The matter of high risk, high reward. You can see it sometimes, but a lot of times it can basically bite you in the butt. We'll see how that plays out here.
What made Tfue and Cloaksy so good was that their rotations was the big part of their success, right? It wasn't necessarily that they landed at a non-hot drop, right? It wasn't even a full kit half the time, right? They get enough to go, do something, right? They make the right rotation, clear the area, move to the next one, move to the next one. So I personally like that strategy a lot better, because like I said, it is a lot lower risk, right? And it still has quite a bit of reward, but I mean, you obviously, tilted towers, if you clear tilted, you're coming out with a lot of kills too, so.
And I got to say, I'm really not a fan of this one, Ryan. Voxie and SiaDark, like I said, they have an advantage. They're now on 170-plus ping, and they're going to enter in, well, they're not really, I think they're together, right? So they're going to be in 2v4 squad games. It's not going to be easy for these guys, and that's why I was talking about it's been a matter of a lot of teams recently, especially our qualifier teams, have that aggressive play style, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's a matter of being able to balance it. So I'm very interested to see what these guys can do. While they do have a lead, this is not going to be easy for them.
Like you said, high risk, high reward, right? I mean, this is their opportunity. They could even, you could see that Gafow's team went to a fairly passive drop. This could be the opportunity to mount a big lead right now, right? Obviously, it's much easier said than done, especially on a European server from NA. But
I'll be honest with you, I'm going to be very surprised if they survive tilted towers.
Me too. You gotta respect them.
Especially if they stay here. Like, if they go on the outskirts, like, whatever, it's a little bit different. But if they stay until the towers and fully fight this particular location out, I'm going to be very surprised if they live to see a longer game than what Tilted will probably present them with. But
what's funny is that they land at Tilted and they're playing slow.
Yeah.
So usually land Tilted and it's pedal to the metal, get the kills, get the loot, and they land at Tilted and they're playing it like they would have landed the passive zone.
This is kind of like how I play and like risky reels or something. I don't know, like just kind of chilling around the corner. But like I said, I guess you could argue with the lack of materials that they have at this moment, there's really not a whole lot they can do. There's not a lot of engagements that they can make. As I call that building that they landed at full house, just because it kind of reminds me of it a little bit. But it looks like they're going to kind of jump out of here, decide to go toward a few buildings on the outskirts, and realize that, hey, we don't really have a whole lot of weapons to challenge. Let's not lose our lead, which I absolutely agree with. Props, Voxie and SiaDark. I respect the play.
I just don't see the point of landing there if you're going to do that.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
If you're going to land tilted and not go for kills.
I will award them, though, for not playing too overly aggressive, but still.
Sure, no, they stay alive.
You got to question the strat.
Yeah, I mean, they come out with they went to like one house, right? So they're not really kitted up too well, and they didn't go for any kills, so they didn't do anything to their lead there. I don't know. Hey, they're alive still. It's all that matters, right? At the end of the day, it's single elimination. Game 2, your life is what's more important. So at the end of the day, they did save their life. Meanwhile, we see Jordberry getting shot from, looks like from his west.
You hear the communication coming out as well. Decides to.
I hear it. I understand it, but I hear it.
Right? Trying to decode what exactly the comms could be, but all we can really sit at bay and notice is that he is going to have that high ground advantage, pulls out the assault rifle and is ready to rock it whenever it becomes necessary, whenever he has the opportunity.
He's running very low on mats, too.
And it looks like as if these players are also using that glide to redeploy system, taking quite a bit of shots. Eliminations coming through for both of our players. And Pleasant Park, like we talk about, Tilted Towers is, of course, the more difficult POI to try and land at. But Pleasant Park, especially as of recently, I don't know what it is, whether or not just things are kind of being built around it or for whatever reason, but it seems to be more of a prominent location as weeks go on. A lot of teams have been landing here and seeing quite a bit of unfortunates much like Retail Row can present people with. So,
well, recently in Pleasant Park there was a challenge, I believe, in one of the recent weeks in the game to get the piano. I think the piano script, and then from there you have to go actually jump on the piano itself. So I wonder. I mean, I know I personally purposely landed at Pleasant because there was something for my challenges I had to collect. So it's one thing to always think about week to week is what challenges are in the game, what area of the map are they on, and obviously players have a lot more incentive to land there because of it.
Absolutely. Challenges, however,
back to Tilted,
are constantly a thing when it comes to Tilted Towers, not even in-game challenges, but just the ability to try to test your wits, test your gun skill. As the ultimate test is without question being shown, they went toward the outskirts and they said, you know what, we landed Tilted Towers for a reason. It's time to go full send, as we'll see what they can do. Keeping in mind, ladies and gentlemen, they're playing on European servers in North America. 170+ ping. Testing their wits and without question challenging their abilities and probably their patience.
This is where champions are made.
This is
where the endurance shows, the stamina comes out. Your mind is tested with the ping, right? Are you born in the lag? Are you molded by the lag, or do you get eaten by the lag? It's an original thought.
I respect that. That is definitely something to think about, as we will see for Voxie and SiaDark one elimination come through in the.
What is the drop rate on balloons right now? I feel like I see balloons
everywhere
and everywhere.
I agree. I feel like whenever something's added to the game, oh, what a nice little line sight sitting in the bathroom. What are you doing, son?
Laser season.
Oh, but take a look at this SiaDark. That's why he was sitting in the bathroom. He was admiring the trap. He was, oh my gosh, just feeling the spikes.
You simply hate to see it.
You really do. But thankfully he will get res, because whenever it comes to Tilted Towers, you're not really guaranteed to even get reses off from time to time. So that is a nice opportunity that they're going to have, along with finding things like a grenade launcher, like you talked about the balloons, which are pretty much every few feet, I feel like, on Fortnite right now.
It's someone's birthday. That's the only explanation. It is someone. Pete Nubb, if you're listening to this, is it your birthday, brother? It's something's going on here.
Oh, man. I feel like whenever recent additions come into the game, the drop rate is just so much higher. Like whenever certain things come in the game, which I'm sure is probably just to allow the the play tests to kind of be more of a thing. But I remember whenever what was it? I think it was the grappler first came out. I could not get the grappler out of my inventory.
Spider-Man, everyone's just flying around.
And I believe they actually spot a rift. Okay, I'm going to be honest with everyone right now. I was under the impression that rifts were out of the game, but I feel like they're a lot less frequent than they ever have been, because I thought they turned into a butterfly. I thought that's what happened to Kevin, but apparently there are still rifts in the game. So we're still learning things on the fly, because there was an event that happened just a few hours ago. So we're still learning things, but I'm gonna mark that down. Rifts are still in the game right now. So that's nice to know.
Far between.
Yeah. Nice little, a nice little note to take.
My guess is that I think there's challenges that involve rifts. I'm not sure, even in one of the early weeks. So I'm guessing they don't want to take it completely out of the game, because obviously it would basically, end people's battle passes. A little spicy engagement right there. Yeah, more kills coming in.
All right, Voxie. I respect it, but you hear the communication coming up from either side. Speaking of Tilted Towers, we see Jordberry and Gafow actually joining the fray, as they're going to be entering in toward Tilted Towers as well. But for Jordberry, he says, you know what, Tilted Towers, it's a pretty fun location, but I'm going to split off, do my own thing, maybe even try to play a little bit of a gatekeeper role and venture off to a new spot, grab some resources and reflect on that lovely ping, which goes from 170 now to 30. Which I'm sure probably feels a lot better.
Gotta love the strawberry branding of the Jordberry. Very creative.
True. Respect it.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta know your branding, I see a lot of players, or a lot of streamers have like very clever names for their subscribers.
I just call everyone fools.
That's
Ryan
okay.
Fools.
I get it. I don't know what I would call my subscribers.
Yeah, I don't have any, but if
I don't either. But it's a nice little thought to have from time to time. Hey, if I were to, stream, which is pretty much the 99% of it, what would I call my viewers? But it looks as if Quad Crasher happens to be soaring through Salty Springs, and fortunately for Jordberry,
there's actually a decent amount of balance with the quad. It's a quad crusher, I think it's called, because it's really fast and really mobile, but it's super loud.
Yeah,
you can hear it from like a mile away, right? So there's actually like a decent amount of risk in using it, because the whole map basically knows you're coming at that point, and so you become like a sitting duck.
That's true. That's a good point, right? Because the ATK, I mean, like, it makes a little bit of a noise, but it's by no means it's not a gas guzzler, right? It's not making that much of a presence. 145 meter snipe, as Gafow will take that one to the face.
Got cracked.
As Jordberry will lead a helping hand to his teammate, as he desperately is going to need him to continue on this fight. Keeping in mind, Ryan, there's only 50 seconds before the storm starts to move in, and they are in a very awkward spot because they still have to, as it looks like Jordberry does land the trap.
Styling on him.
You have to keep in mind, right?
They
are still, they ran away from Tilted Towers. They still have that peak, that river in between them and Tilted Towers. So they've got a journey to make, and still with shots being exchanged throughout the rest of the map, they've got to be very careful of their position right now. They
don't have any healing items, but Jordberry does have a campfire, so they have to basically just hopefully survive this engagement right now because they do look like they're fighting against a team right now. Great nade placement by using the ramp there to throw out the corner. Cleans up the first kill. Shots coming in the second kill. Looks like a pretty easy cleanup for them. Not instant elim, so that should be the end of that team.
Yeah.
They just need to basically get safe. They should have heals actually from that fight.
They got rift, and of course they have balloons as well.
Hashtag blessed.
That is huge for them.
Looks like if you look at your left side of your screen too, both teams are getting kills coming in. This is a pretty high kill game so far. If we can get maybe a score update soon.
Yeah, Voxie and SiaDark, what, 9 in tilted, and there's a trap. Oh my gosh, you got to be so careful.
Again.
SiaDark. Oh, my goodness. It's so unfortunate to walk into placements like that, but that's what happens when you're in Tilted Towers. There's a lot of unfortunate edges, a lot of corners you have to round, but as it looks like the walls do get placed, the revive will come through. So both teams, right, we saw Gafow go down for the time. Unfortunately for SiaDark, he goes down as well, but both teams all still firing, but taking a few shots along the way. I
feel like there's more traps placed in Tilted, like exponentially compared to other places. I feel like every single room you go in Tilted, you have to like look at the ceiling, look at the walls, because there's just so many traps going there compared to everywhere else.
Looks like we're going to see.
I blame Nick Merckx.
That's true. I blame Nick Merckx, and I blame Aiden, who unfortunately got eliminated early on in this tournament. Maybe by going Tilted Towers. Who knows?
Right.
Regardless, though, Voxie firing some shots as there are many players gliding in, and it happens to be Jordberry and Gafow, who are also one of those many players who are doing so. Taking that high ground advantage, and we'll see whether or not they can put it to use as we see SiaDark walk away with one. Jordberry finding a few resources from that elimination and moving on as that storm starts to close in. We talk about that gatekeeping position definitely being put into use right now for everybody in Tilted, not just our 4 players on screen.
And I think Voxie and SiaDark had a 4-kill lead just before that engagement that just happened on our screen. I couldn't see what the split in the kills were, or if Voxie and them got all the kills. But, I mean, there's not that many people left. It looks like there's only 15 left on the map, including them. They had a 5-kill lead. Production saying we have either a 4 or 5-kill lead right now with only 15 on the map. And you know, we talk about the difficulty in doing this on a European server. They actually extended their lead on the European server. So huge hats off to them. All they basically have to do is not kind of mess up, not get caught with your pants down. And they should look like they can clean this game up.
And I got to say, I called that. I was like, hey, I'm going to be very surprised if Voxie and SiaDark survive Tilted Towers, and they are anything but just surviving. They are thriving right now on the Fortnite map, making their way toward YMCA, as it looks as if, like I said, Jordberry down for the count, not fully eliminated, but that is going to slow down the progression from the other team. As you see right here, this player is waiting for meds to get put down. He says, I want to try to steal anything you try to give to your teammate. I believe there is going to be a cozy campfire, 2 of them, in fact, being brought up from Jordberry. So going to sing a few campfire songs, but as he starts to sing a new tune, we see Voxie and SiaDark actually progressing when it comes down to their mobility, making their way toward the forest.
So we should have a 4-kill lead if my math is correct, a 4-kill lead right now with 13 left on the map. It's coming down to the wire.
Another very close game. Week 7 has lived up to the hype.
I think if you're Gafow and Jordberry, they need to split right now, because if they stay as a team of 4 right now, shooting all together.
And Voxie sees someone. Voxie spotted someone toward this mountain near Greasy Grove. And there is going to be a rift to go that was also just used, so he's going to use that high ground advantage to see exactly where they could be.
Gafow with an elim.
Yeah, Gafow finds one as they start to move in toward Greasy. The one positive is that I don't believe they see players that are floating just above them. SiaDark and Jordberry, look up, gentlemen. Look up at what's happening right in front of you, as they've actually seen someone just toward the main restaurant.
This is going to be a huge engagement here. This team fight right here could be the map.
This could.
Huge pick on there at the top left side in your corner. Or top left corner of your screen, I should say.
Big picks from Voxie. Jordberry gets in toward the builds. Drops one. Shots coming in. Takes down another. That's 2 big ones for Jordberry and Gafow. Just trying to keep this one mathematically possible at this point. Voxie, though, spotting someone just off in the distance toward his southwestern side.
3-kill lead right now.
3 elimination advantage right now for Voxie and SiaDark here, Ryan.
Each team has 13 kills in this map right now. There's a 3-kill lead coming into it, so all they have to do is essentially keep it where it was.
Big moment, shots coming in. From that trusty Scar, you see and hear the intensity coming through from the communication. Both players just really wanting to try and stay up despite having, what, just over 20 HP. Gafow is staying alive, and he's going to walk away with one. And also, I believe, gets the knock on the other. That is a big moment for Jordberry and Gafow, as I believe they finish off 2 out of the 3 final players.
Voxie got him by 1.
So, yeah, with that final elimination, Voxie steals it, I believe, just out from underneath him, narrowly sliding by. As we'll add things up just to make sure that that is official. But Voxie and SiaDark come onto European servers, prove us all wrong. We thought they were going to die until the towers to the beginning of the game, and they somehow close this one out. My goodness.
If I predict you, you're probably losing. And that is exactly what happened again. So I believe actually my bracket is entirely busted now. Gafow and
mine's not looking much better. So.
Yeah, every bracket at this point is probably pretty messed up right now. But what a match by Voxie and SiaDark.
That was
going
incredible.
on to the European servers. All the pressure's on. 1 map left to prove it, and they went home and they narrowly got him, but they got him. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
That's true. Like what expectations we were holding on to them as well, saying Jordberry and Gafow when it comes down to their particular servers, they play a lot better. Like I said, these guys are grinders, right? Those guys are grinders. They're playing countlessly in our tournament, so you like to imagine maybe they've met up with a few European teams in the past and really kind of got that experience forward. But our qualifier #1 runner-up team, who's been in our tournaments in the past, are moving on to the semifinals, where they're going to be facing off actually against Pon and FH to God, as they just took down the Caesars boys and Megalo and Icy. So that was a team who we got to watch play in the last round. Very solid team. So you'd like to imagine that semifinal between these particular 2 squads will be a barn burner. So we're going to show the bracket for you guys to see exactly how these games are going on, because we do have our final 4 toward the top side of the bracket between Dios and Flying Matt facing off against XXIF and Fun FPS. Along with that one, we've got some qualifier team battles going on. Keeping in mind, right, we've got our qualifier 2 winners facing off against our qualifier 2 runners-up. So these teams actually met in our qualifier tournament just to get to this point. So it's kind of a rematch, and we'll see whether or not that Sachi and Nick can get their revenge in this particular instance. The more important match of the 2, you like to imagine, with money on the line. So.
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind too, that when you see some of these qualifier teams coming out and beating top teams or showing great performances, again, these guys, like you said, are grinders. These guys play these matches all the time. These guys play cash-out matches. They play tournaments. They play competitive Fortnite in this format all the time. So to see them come through and beat pro players or people who don't necessarily play this format just as much, sounds surprising, right? It sounds surprising to see certain players lose to players you haven't heard of. But at the same time, these guys are grinding this format right here all the time. They know the rotations. They know how to play certain situations much more. And it's showing here as we have basically all qualifier teams left for $10,000.
Yeah, man. I'm consistently having problems with my fantasy bracket, and the reason is because of all of our qualifier teams who constantly destroy each and every week. But along with qualifying, let's say Fortnite isn't really your best game. Let's say you're better at maybe even kind of sitting at a standstill, sitting back and maybe predicting some of the squads. You guys have the opportunity to make fantasy brackets where you guys can win prizes, right? We've got credits, we've got cash to give away. So if you guys are interested, if you haven't already made fantasy brackets in the past, you can do so for next week, week number 8, by using !FB in the chat right now. You'll be greeted with a link which will show you how to make fantasy brackets for the future. So if you guys are interested, like I said, if you're not necessarily a player or one that can compete with some of the best teams that we have on stream right now, you can at least predict which ones you think can make it through and walk away with a little bit of that side cash. Unfortunately for myself, after 7 weeks, I've still yet to place in the top 3, but I'm still hoping on. Week 8, Ryan, is a fresh week. Probably going to see the same results, but I don't know. Week 7 probably is the craziest start that we've had to a tournament yet.
I have a new strategy for next week.
What is that?
Whatever I think's going to happen, I'm going to choose the opposite.
And then when it comes to the tournament, it's going to be like the exact opposite of that. So it'll be
then I can be right in my head, though. So
like
little victories.
Yeah, that's true.
We take those.
Reverse psychology. You're reversing yourself. But we'll see whether or not you can walk away with the W. But guys, we're headed to a quick commercial break. When we return, we've got some more qualifier and semifinal games to partake in. So, like I said, guys, we'll be right back with more action in the Legion Sunday Showdown, powered by Lenovo Legion.